Hi there. Hi. I'm putting this at the beginning of the video to note that this is not a video for kids. This is not a video for kids. Repeat, this is not a video for kids. This video contains some fairly adult topics and should not be viewed by people under the age of 13. This should only be viewed by people 13 years of age or older. If you're wondering why I'm saying this specifically, look up COPPA, C-O-P-P-A. Now let's get to the video. So, nice guys, am I right? We all know them or have met one at some point in our lives. For those of us who are not quite as internet savvy, a nice guy is just the worst. He's a guy who feels entitled to a relationship, sex, or pretty much anything he says he's owed because, come on guys, he's just so nice, right? He often begins friendly relationships with female peers in order to receive physical pleasure. He often complains that girls only go after misogynistic guys who only care about their looks. Which is pretty funny considering the fact that he himself is a misogynist who only cares about how a girl looks. A few steps below this tier of cringe, you'll find an incel, and oh boy, these people are really they're really a thing that exists, huh? Imagine a nice guy, but he's incredibly violent, racist, believes he is essentially owed a sex slave rather than a relationship, and is just genuinely awful. Now imagine if someone like this, someone who's just so profoundly disgusting, came into power. And not just any power, but a nice guy with superpowers. What would happen if you took an entitled, egomaniacal, narcissistic misogynist and gave him the powers of, let's say, Superman? Well, the criminally underrated 2010 animated movie Megamind answers this question. This is AJ White Media, and today I'm here to talk to you about Let's talk about this incel Superman in question. He is a man named Hal Stewart, and he lives in a world that's sort of a pastiche parody of Superman. The plot kicks off when Megamind, a composite of Brainiac and Lex Luthor, finally kills his arch nemesis, Metro Man, who acts as this universe's Superman. Now, Roxanne Ritchie, who acts as this universe's Lois Lane, is also heavily impacted by this incident, especially considering the relationship between her and Metro Man. Which, by the way, isn't romantic. Enter Hal, who could be considered the Jimmy Olsen of this movie, but it'd be disrespectful to my man Jimmy to compare him to this disgusting turtle goblin. Anyway, everything about him makes him the classic, nerdy protagonist of his own comic or movie. Outwardly, he seems very nice to Roxanne, the female protagonist of this film, and his one-sided love interest. He's a classic schlubby, nerdy archetype you see in a lot of media. Now, both in 2010, and as a 7-year-old, it was hard to tell Hal's creepiness. 9 years later...
You should come over. I got a DJ, rented a bouncy house, made a gallon of dip. It's gonna be sick.
Oh, I don't know, Hal. I don't really feel like being around a bunch of people.
No, that's the best part. It'll just be like you and me.
Yeah, no, he's kind of a garbage human being. But in the context of the film, especially a comedy, he could have easily been seen as a nerdy guy with a heart of gold. And the characters of the film see him as this way, especially Megamind. When residual DNA of Metro Man is left over, Megamind decides to transform a worthy successor into the new Metro Man. Why is Megamind doing this? Because he feels as though his life is incomplete without a nemesis, and that finally achieving the victory that drove him his whole life has left him feeling like an empty husk. I can make a whole video about the complex character of Megamind, so I will, but not now. Anyway, Titan. Since he's perceived to be a man who has the potential to be great, Megamind isn't upset when he accidentally gives Hal powers. Over time, however, we dive deeper into his psyche to see that even with powers, Hal is still a bad person. In the training montage of this movie, Titan is shown to be a reckless and overall very poor choice for a hero. He also seems to be motivated for all the wrong reasons. This all culminates into a scene with Roxanne. It echoes the classic 1978 scene between George Reeves and Margot Kidder, but it has none of the heart or initial emotions behind it. Throughout the sequence, Roxanne is clearly and justifiably terrified, and Hal treats her like a ragdoll. This all culminates into a scene in which Roxanne rejects Hal.
There is no us, okay? There will never be an us.
But I have powers. I have a cape. I'm the good guy.
Note how he assumes that his lack of powers and appearance were the only thing holding him back from being with her. As soon as Titan doesn't get his way, he instantly shows his true nature by using his powers as an outlet to do whatever he wants. His narcissistic tendencies shine throughout the film. He's a petulant man-child, and giving him the ability to lift skyscrapers makes him the most dangerous man-child on the planet. Hal attempts to straight up murder Roxanne for rejecting him. Hal is an especially terrifying villain because he's terrifyingly real. A seemingly friendly coworker asks someone out, and when she rejects him, he kidnaps her and threatens to murder her. Stories like that aren't exactly uncommon in the real world. Angry white men rampaging against society that they feel has wronged them are far too common. Hal is a character that highlights issues with toxic masculinity and entitlement in a remarkably real and still relevant way in a 2010 movie in which David Cross plays an alien fish in a gorilla mech. Hal is not some paragon of American idealism and hope. He is a perfect representation of childish and misogynistic entitlement. He is not just a villain, he is a person. There is nothing more terrifying than a villain who could exist. I'm not saying out there exists some man who could fly at the speed of light and shoot lasers out of his eyes, but out there do exist angry, entitled men who have high positions of power. In 2019, we are surrounded by Hals, angry men who want to tighten their grip on society, men who have vast amounts of undeserved power, and egos that dwarf even that. Hal is a scary character because Hal still exists, unless we do something about it. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my latest video. Sorry about the recording, my old equipment isn't working too well at the moment. Be sure to like and subscribe for new videos every Sunday, or hopefully every Sunday. Hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving weekend.